Yeah, and either way, I mean, I know you'll give me the. I'm just kind of recording on my end just to sort of have it on my YouTube assets, and just know when you do have that question, just speak up. I'm sure the next time we do one of these, we'll fix the technical glitch. If I have the technical glitch of my dog barking in the background, nothing much I can do about that. All right. So here's a question for you, Randy. Are you advancing the slides, or is that something I'm doing? Perfect. Okay. Yep, I can see. All right, cool. Sounds good. Hold on. I'm actually answering some questions from the webinar service. Now we're done. All right. All right. So we're live. We're recording. We're ready to go. So Randy, thanks for having me. I know from watching you, you are extremely careful about the information you bring to your audience, if you will, of schools that follow you to get some good information and advice, and mainly pointed in the right direction. So I feel as though that be honored to be in good company with other folks I've seen you introduce to the people who know, like, and trust you. So I appreciate the invite, and we're going to do our best today to share a lot of good reasons why now is definitely the time, and give you as much information as possible about how these mobile apps could work for your martial arts school. So. We quickly named the presentation here Student Retention Breakthrough. The reason why I have that as the header on the slide there is because I always explain to everybody that a mobile app for a martial arts school is definitely, and I'm not a numbers guy, so I'll just throw this out there, 65 to 70% of retention play, and about what's the balance there? 35 to 40% or so of a prospecting play, right? So meaning, 35 to 40% of your app is going to be used to acquire students, but 60 to 70% of your app is going to be used to engage and retain students. So let's go ahead and advance to the next slide. Okay. Now, before we get into apps, you're probably wondering, what is this? This is actually the worst image I have on here, because I just took it real quick and I took it from my phone and I didn't make it fancy and put it inside of a mobile image. So the reason why I have this as the first slide, because I want to remind everyone to cover their mobile bases. And what that means is, there's definitely a hierarchy of needs in psychology, but there's also a hierarchy of needs and wants when it comes to marketing and using technology. I'm not saying these are exclusive, do one before you do the other, but cover your bases moment in mobile is to think of your website as well, and think about the fact that your website needs to be what's called responsive, and a responsive website looks good on a mobile device. We usually see about 10 to 20% of visitors coming from smartphones to our clients' websites, and we want to have what's called this responsive website. Now, do me a favor, Randy, and just advance to the next slide, and then we're going to go back and forth between these two. We're just going to hit on these basics, kind of like white belt class in mobile. So here's the desktop version of this website. Again, we're talking websites right now, not apps, but we're going to get off this subject in a second, but just as a cover your bases moment. So here's the desktop version, just above the fold screenshot of this website, just a really quick screenshot. Now go back one more time. And this is actually what you would get of this website if you pulled it up on a mobile device. So the takeaway there is, in the world of mobile, you have the mobile web, you have mobile apps, And you want to make sure, as you're thinking about this whole mobile app thing, also remember what your prospects are going to see when they search they search for martial arts or karate in your town on a smartphone, and they want to get to your website. You got to give them a good experience. So here's your mobile, what's called a responsive site. It responds to each screen. So I did want to take about 3 minutes just to cover that base. I hope everybody appreciates that reminder that if you're going to redesign your website anytime soon, responsive website is the way to go. You want to make sure it looks good on a mobile device. So that's it. That's what happens when you live in the world of mobile. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of traffic coming from there, from mobile devices. Yep. Yeah, if it's hard to navigate. So I just wanted to reinforce that base. And then just a reminder, use your testing day voice. So we can advance the slide if you want to just take a look real quick at the comparison. There's the mobile responsive version. I just took that from my Galaxy 5. And if you just advance the slide real quick, you can see, okay, this is the desktop version. If I go on an iPad or a laptop, I'm going to see this version. So anyway, that's it. I just want to cover those basics. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so why a mobile app? Well, I'm going to tell you that a mobile app right now is more in line with the fact that it is an opportunity to wow. It is an opportunity to impress. It is an opportunity to jump ahead of your competition. It's also an opportunity to show, when you look at your martial arts school, you probably don't necessarily view everybody as competition, but we've all had the conversation where it's, especially if you're doing a kids program, we've all had these conversations in our heads or with staff members where it's like, hey, the competition is really for their attention. The competition is not the martial arts school down the street. The competition is all the other choices for activities. I mean, we've been through this. We've heard this. A lot of people that have been in business long enough have heard this plenty of times. So what I'm getting at is your mobile app. We all live in the world of competition. We all want to dominate naturally. But if you look and see the competition for people's attention, just that alone, the competition of other martial arts schools, the competitions of other comparable services, just to kind of use a broad terminology, you do have a chance with a mobile app to really stand out. Now, competition with attention, you have a chance to stand out because there's not going to be anybody else in your category for a little bit. I can't tell you. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you when everybody's going to come on board with this, but it's going to be eventually. So you have that opportunity now to really stand out in the attention. Stats show that people check their mobile phones 150 times a day. So the fact that you can be there, and as I'm going to show you in the rest of the slides, you can actually compete better for the attention of your student, for the attention of your prospect. Now that's just competing for attention. You have a chance to do good with a mobile app, just in the competing for attention. Then when it comes to competition, I mean, come on, a lot of people know there's no professional. There's probably one professional martial arts school in your area, and that's probably you. If you're, in your immediate town, that's a big gamble. But you're the one that got wind of this webinar. You're here, right? So when it comes to other schools, there's obviously some savvy competition, and there's a whole lot of competition that's not very savvy. So naturally, you have the ability to stand out in the crowd there, and of course, in the area of other alternative, programs. Naturally, you have the chance to stand out. So the why, there's a big why in this, in the standout wow factor, and it's going to be a little ego-driven, and hopefully by the rest of the slides, we'll see sort of the utility in this. But there is a big wow factor, and naturally, what I touched on before is that you can increase student retention and engagement. So that's the why of a mobile app. So let's zip through this because we promised 30 minutes. Yeah, I would say not just their website. I'll just correct your terminology there, not in a bad way, but I would say it's more putting your business, your school. Right. Okay. Now, now we'll go through a few different elements that that really can make this powerful. And I have on this slide, referrals made easy, and easy is just now I have your attention. But of course, we know that nothing is necessarily easy, but easy in function. Okay, so there's a little button on these apps that says share, and what's going to pop up when I say share is to share it by email, by Facebook, by Twitter, or by text messaging, or on Google+. Now, why would you care about this? Well, there's two functions here. Number one is, one thing you should all do in any business is to gently remind people that they can refer you. Right? Now, what we mean by gently remind people they can refer you is every once in a while, pull your students aside and just remind them, hey guys, it's summer times here. I know you're going to be probably doing a lot of activities. Maybe you're going to be meeting some new people, or at least reconnecting with some of the people that you haven't seen, with the busy school year. And if anybody starts talking about a couple things, maybe their kids are a little bored this summer, man, they have too much time on their hands now. Just remember to mention us. You can ask your students to do you this favor, almost like turn your students into an army of referral subconsciously. And then you can say, and in the meantime, what you do in that case is you just go ahead and you have their phone number already. Go ahead and share our app with them in that case. So anytime it ever comes up, whether you're prompting those referrals or whether it's just going to refer you because they love you, they have an easy tool. They say, oh, you have their business card? And they say, wait a minute, I have their app. So let me just share it with you. Let me pull this up. I'm going to send their app to your cell phone. Why don't you just download it and check it out? So you have an easy referral tool there. And then from there, also you can stimulate referrals. You can have contests, and you can say, hey, share the app with one student, and get this, or one prospect or one friend. Don't use prospect. One friend, and you get a point or something like that. Whatever. You can always have fun with that. But what I'm getting at is you make it easy for folks to share your business, share your school. So let's go ahead and advance the slide. Yeah, we can actually share the events too. I'll show you that. Here's another thing I really like too, because people are going to consume content on mobile devices anyway. Now, all this is applicable to iPads and tablets, by the way. I'm just using the phone, the iPhone image or the Droid image, just as a way to keep the slides simple. But picture this on an iPad, picture this on an iPhone. But we're just using the phones for illustration. What I really like with this as well, and hearing from some of our clients on this, especially in the the martial arts world, is we can really reinforce video lessons. And sure, I know people can go to YouTube and watch your videos. They can go to your website and watch your videos, and it's not about that. It's about ease of use. So tying in videos to play right inside the app will increase their consumption. It's actually why Netflix has increased its consumption. It's why everything out there has just increased when it comes to online content, because mobile makes it easy to consume it. So what you have here is you have an area in your app where you sync it up with YouTube, and those mat chats and those lessons, and those message of the week, what to practice. Like in my schools, we used to reward students for practicing, and we used to do whatever we could to get them to practice. So you just want to facilitate that, and it's just, again, they're consuming your content and engaging with you here, and you can really reinforce a lot of the lessons through video. You'll see improvement in technique. You'll see improvement in them retaining the messages that you're telling them. And it's just another way to engage them. So I really do like the ability they can consume short videos right in the app. It's very powerful. So I like this one, especially coming from, I'm sure there's some other folks out there with the war stories of creating VHS tapes for their students. I remember doing that, and that was fun. While you thought about it, then when you actually got into the shoot and production of those things, Wow, what a pain. But you know, it was worth it because people pop them in the VHS recorder and watch them, you know, and end up boosting their retention. So. Yep. Yeah, the phone or the tablet. Yep. So we can keep going. This is pretty cool too, and I always mess around with anybody. And look, if I look on the photo on my left, look, screen your left, right, looking at the one on the left. It says collect 10 more stamps to unlock this coupon stamp card. Now, I always kind of joke with everyone. The easiest way to explain this function is to say, you know, let's think of the sub shop. You know, buy 10 sandwiches, get the 11th one free. Obviously, that doesn't work for a martial arts school. And I also, you know, I'm a realist in how I approach all this stuff. And I always let everybody know this is nothing you can't do on paper. In fact, in our fitness studio, we have a few folks that still don't have smartphones, so we ran a contest, and we still did a paper version of the contest to cover everybody. But what's really cool is the engagement. So on one side, you know, think of how, you know, you run these summer contests where maybe you used to put a ticket in the bowl when they brought a friend to class, and if that friend signed up, they got 5 tickets in the bowl, or whatever the case may be. I mean, you've been there, done that. We're not going to rehash special event themes and contest themes. But the fun part is, you know, keeping it on mom's smartphone or the tablet, or, you know, the adult student can actually keep these contests right on their phone. So what I really encourage everybody to do is just think on this one. Don't ask me, you know, or us for the canned cookie cutter approach to how you would use the mobile device to run a contest. Just know that it boosts engagement, but a few ideas are you could give points for certain things. You can keep track of it right there. If I look over to the image on the right, my right, looking at the screen, I really like, you know, there's a social component. So you see, you know, the owner of the school here, his name's Larry. He's saying, hey, you know, he's giving a little something here, whatever he's talking about, Krav Maga. And then, you know, further down in the thread, there were some other conversations, and you can kind of see the students interacting with each other. Much easier than the old chat room in a member area site. What it does is it pulls in their social profiles. It's really simple. But what is it? You have to definitely work this. If you have this, you have to go in and you have to stimulate the conversation. You have to remind people to get in there, all with the idea you're really just boosting their engagement and getting them to interact with you a little more. So you have the social, you have the engagement side of this. Yeah. Yeah, so it's just an engagement tool, really, and the other one's more of a, you know, you whip it out and do some contests once in a while. You know, you don't want to beat it to death and do it every week, you know, but you can certainly use it. All right, so let's advance the slide there. All right, so this is actually a screenshot from my phone too, so I'm revealing a little personal information here. You can see that 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday, May 21st is when I took this screenshot, and you can see my stream, and you can see you know, my wireless network. You can see got some text messages there I haven't checked. You can see my emails, 14 new messages to my email address, Fox News news alert, USA Today news alert. But in between all that, you actually see a push notice. From one of my apps, right? So you see me saying Happy Wednesday, cardio kick starts at, and I'm giving a time, right, for folks. So what that is a push notice. So I say this is easy student communication because it gets right through, and it goes right to their mobile stream, and it's a little ding on their phone or a little vibration, and there it is, you know, coming right at you. So it is a cut through the clutter moment. Hey guys, we have an event tonight, or hey, you know, weather's bad, there's no class tonight, or hey, you know, we got testing Saturday. Whatever the case may be, you have a very simple communication tool here. So So that's a push notice. That's what that is.
Hey, Mike, I'm going to try something here. We get a little background noise.
That's because you have 6 folks that are unmuted.
Yeah, I'm going to try to move this into Q&A, where I'll listen only mode. Then I got to make sure I can unload you. Let's try this.
So it says the meeting is in listen only mode. Can you still hear me, Randy?
Muted. They may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
It's always fun. Can you hear me, Randy?
There?
I'm still here, yeah.
Are you there?
I can hear you, but I think you might have muted me. Hold on. How about now? How's that?
Your line is now unmuted.
I'm unmuted.
There we go. All right, now we're good to go.
All right, so I unmuted myself.
Okay, good. I got rid of the background.
No problem. All right, so easy student prospect communication in the form of a push notice is the technical term there, right? So what you have is a message that just gets right through. As you can see, it's right in the stream of everything else that I have. So I have a notice. I have obviously some text messages that I haven't checked. I have my emails, Fox News alert. I have a USA Today alert on here, and then right smack in the middle, you see the push notice.
So push is really could be. I mean, it's not exactly a text message, but it is a type of communication.
Yeah, the good news is it's more comparable to sending an email than a text message. You still get 120 characters, obviously limited space, and then it can actually link. So let's just say I want to send out a push notice about an event. I can send the push notice out, and then I can link to that spot in my app, and then I can encourage them to register. Okay, so that's just something to think about there. But it's not the good news of it's not like a text message because you're not paying for it. Because it's more comparable to an email to where it's sent over a server and it's not sent over, say, T-Mobile, Verizon, or AT&T. Which is actually one of the reasons why. Now you guys can check me on this, and I've had a guy I was actually trying to recruit to do some selling for me with these apps. He ended up going with a text message marketing company, and I told him, I said, Anthony, I'm telling you that we have the real deal for the future here. And it is a big opportunity for you. And he said, well, I really think this text messaging thing. I said, that's your lack of industry knowledge biting you in the butt because push notifications and apps make text messaging almost irrelevant. Now, if you've built up a whole list of text message people that are used to getting your messages and it's working, I'm not telling you to cancel it. I say keep doing it. But if you had to compare side by side, I'm going to spend 80, 50, 60 bucks a month to do text message marketing plus 5 cents a message or whatever the number is, versus I can have a mobile app to get the message out plus do all these other things. Randy, I don't know. When some people just don't hear you? That was one of those moments. So I say he'll be back in a year, but that's a story for a whole other day. So anyway, let's not talk about my staff problems. Let's move on. That's a whole other webinar. All right, so consuming content, right? So this is kind of a whatever moment, just be honest with you here on that. Meaning I'm not gonna, overhype anything. I never do. And I found myself, I love this little. You might not be able to see it, but it says this is just in one gallery. I had to load some images to get it approved for Apple. So one of the images was, and this kind of is like a carousel. It scrolls through. You can just thumb it, and you can see the next image. So it's it's a little engagement tool there. But it says the best ab exercise is 5 sets of stop eating so much crap. But here's the funny part of this. When this app first went live for this gentleman, I downloaded it because it looked really good. I downloaded it, I checked it out, I wanted to verify that everything's okay with it, and I left it on my phone. I usually don't leave them there. And I caught myself just kind of thumbing through his gallery, and 2 minutes later, I'm still thumbing through his photos. And I'm like, yeah, what an engagement tool. Here I am just kind of putzing around, engaged with his school, looking at his photos. So if you can load some compelling photos from Belt Promotion or whatever, you can get students to share these photos with you. You're going to give them a reason to go back and consume, through the mobile device. So there's a reason why Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion 2 years ago. There's a reason why, so many people share photos on Facebook, because people look at photos on their mobile devices. Might as well have them look at your photos. Does that make sense? I mean, so this is more of you have to really see the big picture on this to appreciate this, and because it's not going to give you another student tomorrow. It's not going to retain another. Maybe it will retain another student tomorrow, but it's not going to give you one tomorrow just by having people thumb through a gallery. I'm sorry, it's not how it works. But if you can see the big picture in, wow, 2 minutes later, someone's still scrolling through and consuming my content, that is powerful. That's engagement. That's really what that is. It's get them to consume your content. They're going to consume content on their mobile devices anyway. So it's like the old joke, if someone doesn't buy your classes, guess what? They're spending the $100 a month somewhere. They just choose not to spend it with you. So they're going to consume content anyway. Might as well let them consume it with you.
You're trying to build relationships. So if they're consuming your content, they are more connected to you, and therefore you're building a better relationship. It's easy to quit a contract or an agreement. It's hard to quit a relationship.
Right.
If a bunch of mothers are at lunch, and that's my market, and one of them pulls out the app, let's go back here to the last graduation of my son. So now we're engaged. Now they pulled it right out of their pocket.
Yep.
I'm not going to go and send an email to someone open up. Here it is. You're good to go.
Exactly.
That's the real legacy that you power.
Yeah, it may or may not bring you a student tomorrow, but it's a moment of extra. So, all right, we can move on to the next one. I think we're getting close here, and we're running up right on 30 minutes, which is cool. So if we go over by a couple minutes, that's okay. I really like this too. I mean, we always need people to engage with our events. We need them to understand when the next events are coming. I take no responsibility for the events that are written here. I'm just looking at one of the apps we created and seeing what he's got going on. Naturally, this is always going to vary in everybody's app. You choose what you want to put in here, but in his case, he's adding some classes. He's putting a tournament in September. He's looking a few months ahead, but this can be anything. This can be, June, the Father's Day events coming up, and then, we're 4th of July bar, outdoor cookout, August, parents' night out. All this can be put right in here. All your upcoming events can be listed in one spot. It's a moment of, can I make this easy for my people? That's what you asked yourself. Can I make it easy? So all I got to do is go to the app to be caught up. And, so I like listening to events, and you can even get registration from the events too. I won't get into that, but I like the fact that you can put all your events in one area, make it convenient. Sure, you can list them on your website. I get it, but having it here is going to just increase their, the ease of use basically. So it's a moment of, do I want to make this easy? All right, so we're zipping through here. Let's keep going. We're almost done. Right. First I got to go to the browser, then I got to go type in the website, right? Yeah, nobody remembers anything. Right. Absolutely. Yep. What do we got next? Let's see. What's behind door number 6? Okay. I don't think, like I said, these things are 30%, 40%, give and take for prospecting, and the rest is all retention. But inside the app, we definitely want to add specials or offers or things like that from time to time. We also want to add some information about classes just for that time when the app does get shared and someone is actually using the app to get some information. I'm going to tell you that the world is an open book for the most part, And you're going to want to put anything in your app that you would want people, not just your students, to see, but you would also don't mind sharing with other people. And think of your app the fact that it's going to be an open door, and it's almost like if you don't turn people away who walk in your lobby and sit down and watch classes for the first time, because that's all they know to do. They're like, oh, let's go check out this school. Let's walk in. Okay, let's sit down and watch classes. And I assume someone will talk to me, but if nobody talks to me, at least I'll watch classes. I mean, you're going to go up and talk to them. So you want to treat your app that way. So picture this section and where you have information on your programs in your app is just going to be someone walks in your school. Yes, they can see classes going on. Yes, they can see an intro lesson happening. Yes, somebody's answering the phone. Yes, there's 3-4 assistants running around, which is obviously the ideal sign of a successful school here. And they sit down, they watch classes, and in 2 minutes someone goes up and talks to them. Someone can, a stranger, a prospect, can browse through your app, can see all the stuff you have going on, and can see your programs, and can get a special, and register, and submit, and get, you get the name, the email, you can add the phone number. You can't see the whole form here, but they can get your special offer, and you want to have that comparable to just having the good program director kind of standing by, ready to talk to some people. This is what this is. It's your whole school wrapped up in an iPhone or a tablet, and here's your program director just kind of hanging and saying, hey, okay, great, yeah, come on and try us out. So you can capture leads with these things too. I put it as the last slide because I don't want to give people the wrong idea. I don't want to give people the idea that, hey, this is the next big thing to get you 30 students tomorrow. No, no, no. There's plenty of that in the industry as hype. This is not it. Okay, so this is just one thing that can be responsible for one student tomorrow. It's one thing that could be responsible for retaining just, at the very least one student next month. You look at it that way as opposed to the hype. So you can capture leads with these things too. Right.
Now we have a central point of communication of how you utilize that communication for the special event, special event, you're doing here, playing a special. So much that can be done once you make the easy communication.
Right.
You said it perfectly well. We used to do this stuff. I mean, to not have to. You don't have to have it, but you also don't have to have a car. You want. This not only makes things different, but what I'm seeing is it's getting the school to communicate, become part of a group, part of a tribe, part of a culture, that they start to get strong. That's what attracts more people to your business. So if we're retaining more, and then they're sharing with their friends, this is a fantastic tool.
Yeah, and it's one tool in the belt. There's obviously a lot of other things, and just watching some of the highlights of your recent seminar, obviously you're also pumping that information out, and people are getting that, and this is just one extra thing to kind of take it to a higher level. So why don't we go to the next slide? Oh, here it comes, the pitch. Nah, just kidding. It's actually free. Here's basically how we work this thing. From time to time, we do open this up, and we don't mind doing these. We're happy to put some very basic, functioning apps together. We've done this for a lot of schools, and we've done this for a lot of schools who have also decided to take that to a higher level. But how I recommend anybody kind of get in the app game is just let us put a basic, what we call, free demo app together for you. It's totally functional. It obviously has, some limits to its capabilities. So get that. Get that if you're interested in, kind of seeing your school. Like, picture one of these images, and now just picture your school. Picture your branding, your logo, all of your stuff here, and just go right to that link. It's kind of a long link. It's martialartsbusinesssystem.com. Hopefully, Rain, I guess you can send it out. And then it's /free-martial-arts-apps. Don't ask me why it's like that. It just is what it is. So you can go right to that, and you can pretty much, you'll be taken through a process to to request. You have to request it. We'll ask you to upload a logo. So do it. Make sure you do it when you're in front of your PC or your Mac. We'll ask you to upload a logo. Give us some basic information. Just give us enough so we can actually turn something that's going to show you what this what you're going to get. And it is functional. It actually sends the push notices, and everything's on the page. I won't regurgitate it. Everything there that you get in the demo free basic app is right on the page. So that's definitely a good way to get in the game. Just picture your school represented in this image collage.
Right. And then what this does, even if they're just back on the tab, kind of get a feel for how this works. This is one of those things where I think you got to kind of put hands on it, and it doesn't cost you anything to try it. So under chat, you have to keep there. And I'll also send it now. But this is something that this is a tool, and once again, I'm a big believer in building culture. And this is a simple communication device. What's on that in your socket in their phone. And so I think we really need to develop our skill at this. And if we get a lot of results from you, as we get more people doing it, we'll be developing. I'm sure people will develop different ways to utilize this. We'll be able to help our schools and generate new business. And that's, let's start with just trying. It doesn't cost anything to try a little bit at a time. And sure thank Mike for coming on board and walking us through this, and we thank him for giving everybody a shot to try it. I mean, he's got a team that's set to do these things. He's willing to invest in them, and then find out it's something that you understand and it works for you. It's doing what you say they're going to do. Then you can upgrade it and get $40,000. We'll find out how.
Yeah, I find it's definitely a good way to kind of get in the game, and really see what when you see your app, you've represented your school's information there. And then what I always encourage folks to do once their app gets launched, go up to 5 students and ask them to download it. That's the more important. More important is what they think, not what you think when it's done, not what I think. It's more important what your students think. So.
Mike, what I'll do also when I send out the link, also give them contact me.
Yeah, sure. And actually, I'll send you my web domain too. One of my web domains has an actual live chat as well. So, and it's cool. And I'll have to share this with you at some point. It's actually a free app, and I would get a live chat questions right on my mobile phone from my website at any time. So, talk about Dan Kennedy's not be available approach. No, I'm just kidding. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you my web link, and all of our contact information is right on there. So, I would say just that one first, and go through the steps, get the basic one going, and we'll catch up from there.
All right, gang. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming and setting in on this thing. They found their time.
Last thing, Randy, you want to address this question for everybody? Okay, because I'm seeing it come through. So the last thing you guys need to know is the basic app is an Android version to start, but it is viewable on the iPhone. We just have to walk you through how to actually view it. So it is, so in the effort of full disclosure, and you see it right on the site. That's why I said the site has all the information, without me regurgitating it. The first version of the app that's produced is actually an Android version, but even if you have an iPhone or an iOS, you can still get it, and we actually show you you can actually view the app and download the app from your iOS. It's just the first version of it actually Android. I'm not going to get into technical details because it'll just confuse everyone, but you still can get it and view it on your iPhone. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that question come through, and it's a great question from somebody who happened to be on the website, which is why I stopped trying to regurgitate what was on there. So that's just something you guys want to know, and it's very, very important. Okay?
All right, sir. We appreciate your time, everybody.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you for your time.
Hey, anytime. Take care.